Hey there, and welcome to the latest episode of the BoardGame Sherpa. We all know somebody who's overly cautious about playing new board games. I made this channel because I was that guy. I like playing board games, but I get completely stressed out learning new board games. And it took me a long time to figure out why this was happening to me and how I could fix it. And I see the same reaction in quite a few of my friends when I try to break out a new board game that they haven't played before. They would rather play the basic games they know, like Monopoly and Yahtzee, rather than learn a new one. I've even coined the term FOLANG. FOLANG is fear of learning a new board game. And it's a very real thing that doesn't get talked about very much. And it should. If just to get more people into the hobby and finally get people to play all the new board games sitting on their shelf of shame. Talk about shelf of shame in the next video. So why do people fear learning new board games? There's actually a term called ludophobia. From ludus, the Latin for game, and phobia, the Greek for fear. Personally, it's just easy to call it boardgameophobia, or my term, FOLANG, but the definition is the fear of games due to the complications, issues, and bad luck while playing games in the past. So how does this fear manifest? And how do you fix it? I found two main groups. Competitive issues. Some people like myself just hate competitive things. I know it's important in human life. Competitive situations force progress. What better way to get ahead than have the goal of being better than another person, company, or nation? We wouldn't have made it to space if the United States, Russia, and China were not desperately trying to be the first to get there. Without competition, it is too easy to get comfortable and not progress. That being said, I hate competition just for competition's sake. Maybe because I grew up a computer nerd instead of a jock. I just wasn't good at athletics. Being someone who trained really hard just for the glory of it just wasn't instilled in me. But beating someone in video games? That's another story. I found out that I can get really competitive playing games like Duke Nukem, Activision Ice Hockey, and the like. I literally have gotten into fights with my friends growing up while playing these games, and subsequently lost friends because of that. And I hate the way I feel when I get super competitive, especially when I lost. So what's the fella to do? Well, I found out there's such a thing called cooperative board games, and instead of beating each other up, players work together to achieve objectives. And it is beyond awesome to bond with a team to beat a particularly tough challenge. Some quick co-op games that you might want to check out: Horrified, Back to the Future, 5 Minute Mystery, Jaws, and Fury of Dracula, which is a great game where a band of players team up against one player who's playing Dracula. So you can bring that one player who hates cooperative games into your game night. I'm going to do a favorite cooperative games episode here on the BoardGame Sherpa channel really soon, but let me know in the comments what your favorites are and you'll get a shout out in that episode. I found that I also can play competitive board games with people who are not super competitive as well. If you have one of those at the table, it turns everyone into jerks. We had a board game night years ago where we unknowingly brought in a super competitive person, and there was almost a fist fight that night. And we stopped playing board games for over a year afterwards because of it. It left a really bad taste. Needless to say, that player is permanently banned from all future game nights, and I'm much more careful who I bring in. The other reason people fear learning new board games is social anxiety. In my board game travels, I've seen a bunch of players with social anxiety about board games. I totally understand it, as I get it myself when I'm not playing with trusted friends. Basically, it falls into a couple of categories. 1, they're nervous about meeting new people. 2, they don't want to be the center of attention. 3, they don't want to look stupid by not understanding how a game works, or God forbid, causing their team to lose a game. And number 4, being overwhelmed at everything going on in the game. The best solution is to start slowly. It could be playing games with just one other person who is not super competitive, or as I like to call them, jerks. Personally, I love introducing shy people into board gaming. I was that guy until my friend and personal board game Sherpa, Johnny Rocks, gently introduced me to the board games without any stress. He did it so well that I actually grew to love board games. And I want to do that for other people, which is a huge reason I started this channel, to pay it forward. Don't get me wrong, I still hate looking stupid when I don't understand a game. But I realize you're not born with the knowledge of how to play a game, so everyone is a beginner at some point. And there's a good chance someone else at the table has the same question. I went to a board game convention a few weeks ago and got outside my comfort zone and demoed the game Cat in the Box with a friend and 2 strangers. They described it as an easy to learn trick-taking game. I had no friggin' idea what a trick-taking game was, but figured I'd figure it out during the demo. I didn't, and I felt pretty stupid since everyone seemed to know what it meant but me. And it started to mean something, as part of the game was to take the trick. So I just blurted out, "What's the trick?" The demoer seemed shocked that somebody in the board game world didn't know what taking a trick meant. But 2 of the other people at the table had no clue either and appreciated me asking. So it's not just me, and it won't be just you. Trick-taking is a relatively simple concept taken from card games like Hearts and Bridge. Basically, every player puts out a card, and the highest card in a priority suit gets it and takes all the cards. That's it. Nothing more complicated than that. The best way to get someone shy into board gaming is to play stuff they already know and then slowly introduce new fun games. I started playing Yahtzee on Board Game Arena with one shy friend, and then slowly introduced him to King of Tokyo and then Splendor, which he now beats me at regularly. But now if I want to try a new game, he's a lot less resistant, and knowing that if he doesn't like it or doesn't get it, I'm not going to berate him or anything like that. Make it comfortable for people. Be patient, crack jokes. Don't make big deals about bad choices on turns. It's just a game. A little encouragement will pay you back in the long run. So that's FOLANG. I hope this video helps you see why some of your friends aren't into board gaming. But with a little patience and some one-on-one help, you can help them conquer their fear of learning new games. And if it's you who has a FOLANG, start small. Find one person to play a new game with. Watch a YouTube video about that particular game. You'll figure it out. I highly recommend the Watch It Play channel with Rodney Smith. He is one of the most thorough and gentle board game teachers I've ever seen. Outside of my own personal BoardGame Sherpa, Johnny Rocks, of course. So, as I've told you earlier, my main goal of the BoardGame Sherpa channel is to help folks take board gaming to the next level with the least amount of stress. I feel board gaming is really helpful in so many areas. Being more social, more logical, having more creativity, and solving real life problems. If you need a business reason, board gaming will help you network. You might even find a friend who can help you find your dream job. It's happened. Also, if you get why my shirt is relevant to FOLANG, post in the comments. If I get enough comments, I'll choose a random one for a prize. Hint, it's not a shirt, but a complete cosplay covered up with regular clothes. But more on that aspect of my life in a future episode. And while you're at it, why not subscribe and give this channel a thumbs up? It'll really help me out a lot, and we can bring new players into the hobby, which will help us all out when we're trying to find people to play our favorite games with. Yep. So go hit those like, comment, subscribe buttons, and we all win. See you next episode.